have successfully landed on the moon. As NASA sends astronauts back to the lunar surface, this time to stay, we will need to send science and technology instruments ahead of time to lay the foundation for human exploration. To make this happen, NASA is helping establish a commercial lunar economy. For the first time ever, there will be commercial delivery services to the moon. We are enabling American companies to send our payloads to the lunar surface for us. These delivery services will expand our capabilities for exploration, radically increasing the amount of science we can achieve. This high-risk, high-reward initiative will invest in and leverage the entrepreneurial spirit of American innovation to launch a commercial lunar marketplace, advancing technology and exploration for all of us. With this never-before-seen streamlined access to the moon, we will be able to make novel measurements and develop technologies that scientists have long wanted to do on the lunar surface. And as this new industry matures, this commercial delivery service for NASA and other customers could expand beyond the moon to other destinations in our solar system. And we can learn to live on another world because we are explorers.
If you're just joining us, we are now past that hour mark with just T-minus 52 minutes until landing. This moon landing is for Firefly's first mission to the moon. The company's Blue Ghost lunar lander is still in a planned communications blackout, and we expect to gain signal in approximately 10 minutes after Blue Ghost emerges from the far side of the moon. While we get ready for that next set of milestones before landing, let's take a moment to talk through this flight manifest. This is the largest payload manifest on Eclipse delivery with 10 NASA science and technology instruments on board. Diving right into the NASA payloads on this flight, we have the Next Generation Lunar Retroreflector, or NGLR, which is a passive instrument, meaning it does not power on. Instead, it will beam incoming laser light from Earth back in the same direction. The time it takes for the light to bounce back can be used to calculate the moon's shape and distance from Earth. Another payload on this flight, the Lunar Environment Heliospheric X-ray Imager, or LEXI, will aim to capture the first global images of the magnetic field that shields Earth from solar radiation, providing insight on how space weather impacts us here on Earth. During transit, LEXI operated for more than 50 hours total in preparation for collecting images from the lunar surface. Now let's talk about RAD-PC next. RAD-PC is the Radiation Tolerant Computer Demonstration. You can't send just any computer into space. That harsh environment in space and on the moon can lead to malfunctions, system crashes, and permanent damage. Designed to recover from issues created by radiation, RAD-PC provides a cost-effective solution for a radiation-tolerant computer, which, if effective, could improve the safety for future Artemis missions. Now, during transit, RAD-PC successfully operated while passing through the Earth's Van Allen radiation belts, a positive sign that the computer is working as intended. Next up, we're going to talk about the Lunar GNSS Receiver Experiment Payload, or LUGRA. We discussed earlier is jointly developed by NASA and the Italian Space Agency. LUGRA is investigating whether Earth-based global navigation satellite systems, or GNSS signals like GPS, can be used for space-based positioning, navigation, and timing from a spacecraft's initial launch to lunar landing. During transit to the moon, LUGRA successfully tracked GNSS signals from GPS and the European Union's Galileo constellations and broke the record multiple times for the farthest GNSS signal acquisition ever, peaking in lunar orbit at 243,000 miles from Earth. LUGRA's signal reception on the moon surface could mean a lot of things for future Artemis missions and the space sector. These are just 4 of the 10 payloads being delivered to the moon today for NASA. So let's head over to Antonia Jaramillo to learn more about SCALPS and EDS, some of our dust instruments on this flight.
Hey, thank you, Nilla. We are here at our viewing location for Firefly's moon landing, and joining me is Kristen John, the technical lead for NASA's Lunar Surface Innovative Initiative. Kristen, thank you so much for being with us here tonight.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Now, Kristen, you're kind of the expert on all things lunar regolith or lunar dust. Can you tell us why it's so important that we study this?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we think about where we're going tonight to Mare Crisium, and every location that we go when we go back to the moon, we're learning something new about the sites that we're going. We're going to learn a lot of geology from studying the lunar dust and the lunar regolith. But from an engineering perspective, it's actually really interesting and really important that we study the dust or the regolith. So we learned from Apollo what a huge challenge and what a huge barrier the lunar dust can be for all of the equipment that touches the lunar surface. So if you think about the household dust that we have, that's not what the lunar dust is like at all, right? So we have a different environment on the moon. So on Earth, we have an atmosphere that protects us, but on the moon, we don't have an atmosphere. So over the billions of years that the moon has been around, it's been bombarded by these impacts and by meteoroids. And so that's created this, these impacts that have created this fine dust. So we have this really small particulate. And then on top of that, because we don't have erosion on the moon like we do here on Earth, the particulate is also very sharp. So it's much more like fine pieces of glass or shards of glass. And then on top of that, we also have this electrostatic nature of the dust because it's very dry and because of the different properties of the environment. So now you have this small, sharp, sticky dust. So when you send any equipment there, it affects literally everything. So as we go back with Firefly tonight, or this morning, I guess, and any mission that goes back to the moon, we're going to learn so much more about the hazards of the dust and how we can improve with every mission that goes back.
And on this mission, one of NASA science instruments is the electrodynamic dust shield that's going to actually help us, mitigate that lunar regolith. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that instrument and how it's going to also help our future astronauts when we go back to the moon?
Yeah, absolutely. So EDS is a fantastic technology. So it's an active technology that actually has these transparent electrodes on different surfaces. So you can put it on a radiator or a solar panel or glasses or camera lenses to protect them. And it basically creates an electric field. And when you see it work, it looks like magic. But it basically creates an electric field that gets the lunar dust particles to basically walk off of the surface, whatever the surface is. So you can imagine in the future, any surface that might have dust that accumulates on it, which will be a lot of surfaces, whether that's a visor on a spacesuit helmet or camera lenses, even spacesuit material, you could use something like EDS to literally walk the dust off of the surface.
That is so cool. Kristen, thank you so much for joining us. Now we'll send it back to our hostess, Nilüfer and Bridget.
This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit.